What they should put in here.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, who's at the very end down there? A minute, we'll wait. One more minute and just see.
I think there's you have
Six
to
to
have
pass.
six.
Mhm.
68 for both of those. Thank you.
One of them is just the majority of who's here.
Right.
One of them is six, and Becca or Lauren, somebody will have to tell me which is which, because my, right. Okay, see, there you go. I knew there was,
For rezoning,
there was something,
simple majority of the quorum
right,
would be for the.
right.
Okay. Okay, it's 5:30. We're going to call the meeting to order, and I'm going to do the roll call. Ethan Reed,
Present.
Mark Ferguson,
Present.
Alexander Bainey,
Present.
Jensen Tilkey,
Here.
Jay Winborn,
Present.
Brooks Davis, Tanisha Roundtree.
I think that might be.
Oh, we'll give him a chance. Brooks Davis, Tanisha Roundtree, Cassidy Cook,
Present.
Kevin Gambrill.
Present.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, we are going to move forward with the approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into the subdivision review. Ryan, I think is going to handle that.
Good evening, everyone. This is a preliminary plat approval for the Estates Phase 1. This is coming back because the time period has passed, which is why you're all seeing it again. This is roughly 29 acres. It's currently zoned to planned unit development. There is one single-family residence. The rest is undeveloped. You'll see my notes for corrections needed on the plat and my conditions. One condition that I want to correct now is to strike number 3 and replace it with an access easement must be established, allowing access to all lots abutting Ravenclaw Drive. There are some lots that extend beyond this plat that still need to access that private drive for them to have access to a street frontage, which is why that's added in there. Any questions for now?
Okay, is the applicant here to speak in favor? Okay, state your name and address.
Hi there, my name is Patrick Hickman, 240 Skyline Drive. I'm here with the Tyler Group representing Tim Files. We're looking to establish a subdivision out here, single-family residences, should be conforming to most stuff around it, and here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Anybody have anything? Okay, thanks so much. We may call you back up here. Okay, and as this is not a public hearing item, I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
To confirm, this is with the corrections and conditions listed.
As
in the-
Ryan presented.
As presented.
Okay, and did we have a second? Sorry. Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, now, just as a reminder, the Conway Planning Commission makes recommendations to the City Council on public hearing items. Items reviewed on this agenda will be considered by the City Council as early as March 25th of this year. Items not approved by the Planning Commission Board of Zoning Adjustment may be appealed to the City Council within 30 days of the date of the denial. So now with that, we're going to move into our public hearing, and Ryan is going to start us out with the request to rezone the property at 1375 South Harkrider.
Yes, ma'am. As you stated, this is to rezone property at 1375 South Harkrider from A1 to C3. You'll see adjacent zoning to the north and east is C3. South is A1 and west is I3, which is across the railroad tracks. The comprehensive plan shows this as general industry, but it's been developing differently so far. The purpose of this rezone per the applicant is to have a new location for Eagle Glass. The applicant has estimated a new building that is roughly 6,000 square feet. At this size, the average daily trips we're looking at would be roughly 48, which means that the traffic impact would be minimal. You can see my staff comments there. The comprehensive plan does designate this area as general industry, given the proximity to the railroad. However, the area east of the railroad track has developed into more of a commercial use, and I believe this rezoning is appropriate for the area and will not likely harm any adjacent property. Questions?
Anyone have questions? Okay. Is the applicant here to speak in favor of this request?
I'm John Lewitt, 23 Charles Street, Conway.
Okay.
Owner of Eagle Glass. I'm also here to speak for the Lewitt Family Trust.
Okay. Are you in favor of the conditions?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add? Okay. Does anyone have any questions at this time?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you. We
thank
may call you back. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of this request? Okay, is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this request? Okay, we will pull this back into commission.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. We will move on to the next item. It is a request to rezone the property at 708 South Barrington. That is also Ryan.
Yes, ma'am. This is a request at 708 South Barrington Street to rezone from R2 to O3. The adjacent zoning to the north is R2. To the east, you have O3, which is restricted office district. West is R1 and south is S1 institutional. So kind of a mixed bag of everything here. The existing structure is a 2,108 square foot single-family dwelling with a 6-foot wood privacy fence. The projected traffic impact, the applicant intends to use the existing building and driveway with no expansions planned at this time. As a restricted office use, under its current configuration, the site would generate approximately 30 average daily trips, so traffic should be minimal. I looked at this. The comprehensive plan designates this area as single family. However, given the frontage onto Dave Ward Drive, it is reasonable the site be converted to office use. The adjacent property to the east is zoned O3, and there is another O3 zoning 2 lots to the west at 1972 Dave Ward Drive. After reviewing this, the rezone is appropriate for the area and will not likely harm any adjacent properties. Questions at this time?
Am I having questions? Okay. Is the applicant here to speak in favor of this request? Okay. If you'll come on up and state your name and address, please.
Lance Massey, 1531 El Paso Road, El Paso, Arkansas.
Okay.
I'm representing the client on this. So this was a single-family dwelling home. He used it for a rental for a number of years. I think he had it up for sale for about a year, maybe a little bit over a year. And the biggest complaint was the noise on everybody. People love the space. So he's hoping he can move it into that O3. He's had a lot of people, like lawyers and stuff like that, wanting to rent the space because of the high traffic visibility. And so that's the reason for the rezone request on this.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions at this time?
How many people are they expecting to have like on a normal basis? Or my question is, there's not a ton of parking there. I know when I drove by it, they have done some repouring of some concrete to allow for additional parking, but like on average, how many people would be there at once?
I wouldn't think any more than like 8 to 10 at the
Okay.
most, with staff included.
Okay.
Small office.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions at this time? Okay. Thank you. We may call you back. Is there anyone else here today to speak in favor of this request? Okay. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Okay. Please step forward. If you'll state your name and address, please.
David Anderson, 705 South Barrington, Conway, Arkansas. I'm in the neighborhood, just a few houses down from this location, and I'd like to encourage the council to deny this request. I am concerned about parking, as was brought up. There is more poured concrete, but more traffic and an office space in a neighborhood. It's true there are other office spaces around, but this whole neighborhood seems to be slowly being eaten away, and it's just taken away from the character of the neighborhood and the safety there. More traffic, and then property values lowering. When someone moves into a neighborhood, they don't want to move in next to a business necessarily, and so I'm worried about that as well. So that's my concerns.
Okay. Thank you. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. Is there anybody else here to speak in opposition? Hey there, if you'll just state your name and your address.
My name is Ken Ashley Pauley. I also, like the gentleman before us, am in that neighborhood. Concerns I have again are parking and traffic. There has been some cement poured, which has now already created a in and out, if you will. We catch a lot of traffic on Barrington as it is with work traffic. speeds, excessive speeds, whatever. Again, property values, what's going to happen with it. Yes, there is some to the left and some to the right on Dave Ward, and it's eventually going to make its way through, maybe. But I think we have an obligation to preserve some of this for the people that have moved into this as a neighborhood now, and hopefully something that's going to be part of their future with property values and families and things like that. So I would like to get into some deeper thoughts on what the traffic's going to be, how much of it's going to be. As of now, everyone parks in their driveways. There's no street parking that it could take place. But if we don't know what's going in and what we're getting into without maybe looking into it just a little bit deeper, let's see what it's going to do on a positive note. That's what I would like to see happen. So if we could just kind of put it aside and get in deeper to it, I think it would be favorable to everybody that's trying to do it. It's not an attractive spot because of Dave Ward for a family, but I don't know that it'd be more attractive for office space, and we really don't have control of what's coming in there or know the numbers. So if we could look into that deeper, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments. Just,
707 South Barrett.
okay, thank you. And Ryan, you might be able to help answer this. Tonight, we are just considering the zoning. So as far as some of the other details, that would be worked out through the planning department as a potential business came in or wanted to make modifications or anything like that, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Right now, we're looking to change the zoning from R2 to O3. Once the zoning's changed, they can do anything allowed in an O3 district to that site. The O3 office district is our most, restrictive office district, which is why we thought this would be a good balance for this area with the neighborhood behind it.
What else? So say that this gets rezoned and they decide they don't want to bring in a law office. Could you give some examples of what else would be allowed under this asked rezoning?
Yep, one sec.
Like, for example, could they put a dentist office in there?
Yeah, the highest density use will probably be a clinic. And we always do that based off square footage. So we have to think the lot's not that big, so they're not gonna get a hospital in there. But that's gonna be your quickest generator.
I did have one question for staff with respect to home office, provided it wasn't rezoned, but you still had another type of use in mind. Is there a certain, with the current zoning, is there a percentage of the existing dwelling that can be used and not used?
There is a conditional use that they could apply for an office in this R2 zoning.
And they would be able to use the full percentage of the interior?
Mhm.
So the intensity of that use would simply be the same in a CUP
Correct.
environment versus rezoning outright?
Yes.
Do you know, I mean, and obviously looking at the photos that you guys submitted from around, is how many are residential directly around that on Dave Ward?
On Dave Ward, you have one directly, the property to the east is zoned O3, which is the same zoning they're requesting. There is an R1 to the west, as you can see on your map, and then to the west of that is another O3 zoning.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. Is there, okay, so now we're going to just bring it back into commission. Anybody have anything they want to discuss or any questions?
Like Kevin's point, same use be required with a permit and leave it R2. I mean, if that's an option.
That environment, you wouldn't be having any of the additional things like signage and other things that the zoning would offer. You would strictly be looking and appear as if it's residential in this instance, under this scenario of discussion. Is that correct?
If we did a conditional use permit, we would be able to be more restrictive on certain things. Signage has to go through the sign code. And it would be, it's looked at beyond here. Now, I mean, if you restricted it to no signs, I think we have done that before for a beauty shop in a neighborhood.
With the
So-
conditional use permit, not necessarily
Yeah.
a rezone. Okay.
The thing with the conditional use permit is if it's not used, I don't know if they have a tenant right now or not that they're looking at, but usually we cap it at 18 months. So if we did it and they didn't get a tenant in 18 months, the conditional use permit would then expire.
Expire out, yep.
Thank you.
I would just say my concern, I don't have issues with it being rezoned, but my concern is from a parking perspective. If there's 8 to 10 people in that current facility on a normal basis, the parking, the way it's, even with the additional concrete, that is not going to accommodate. Say there's only 5 vehicles, that's not going to accommodate. And then you're not going to want them to park on the street right there, especially given with how traffic flows through there, so.
Right, and again, just remember, we're considering the zoning only. They would have to comply with any city parking regulations or anything like that. And obviously, a business could also utilize the garage space as well, I guess, for parking if they wanted to. Okay, any other discussion? Okay. Sure.
If this structure were rezoned, could it be taken down and another structure be put in its place of larger size to accommodate? I mean, can that happen?
If it fit,
If it fits with the O3 zone.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the space, obviously, you're limited with your space for the size of the lot with the setbacks and all those things.
But another structure of larger size could end up there, I think. And I could be
Do we
wrong.
know how much buildable area is on there with all the setbacks?
We'll see if the staff can help.
It's not going to be much larger.
No, but it's a good question, I think.
Yeah,
Just-
yeah,
just
no,
to
that's a
ask,
good
what
question,
comes
but
down goes
when you're
up.
talking about a city lot, there's not going to be much left to,
And I concur with the idea that I'm across the street. Once you get 2 or 3 vehicles in that
Mm-hmm.
driveway, it's done. So it either becomes a larger parking lot, which the concern becomes behind and across to
Mhm.
our values again. So anyway, thank you. I'm sorry.
Yes, yes, thank you. Did you want to clarify something, Ryan?
The O3 zoning is kind of a transition zoning between residential and office. Anything that goes in that spot would have to be comparable to the houses in the area. They couldn't come in and fill the lot up with a building and say that's their site now. So that's just kind of some background on the zoning.
Okay. Anything else, Commission? Do y'all have any?
It's up to you. It's back in.
Okay, we brought it back into commission, but if there's just something important you think you need to add, I'll give you a minute.
Yeah, it won't even take a minute. I believe that house, the garage has been enclosed to extend the
Okay.
space of the house, so there is no garage area
For
any
parking. Okay,
So parking is still an issue, I would say.
okay,
I'd make a motion to approve at this point.
okay.
Second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
You want to do a
Wait.
voice vote?
Yeah, because some of y'all didn't. Okay,
Do you want me to call the?
yes, please.
All right, Lori Quinn,
Aye.
Ethan Reed, aye. Mark Ferguson,
Nope.
Alexander Bainey,
Aye.
Jensen Tilke,
No.
Jay Winborn,
Aye.
Rick Davis,
Aye.
Cassidy Cook,
No.
Kevin Gambrell.
Aye.
Okay, they got it. It passed. Okay, and like I said, remember, those of you that live there, there will be input, down the road with whatever ends up happening, which will be more valuable for what you guys are talking about than what we have control over tonight, so.
This item will be up for final hearing at the 25th of March, so next Tuesday planning, or a city council meeting in this room at 6:00 PM, where they will finally hear it before city council.
Okay, now we are going to move on to the next item, and that will be the rezoning request at 3455 Dave Ward Drive. Ryan, you're up again.
Yes, ma'am. This is a rezoning from A1 to O1 at the south side of Dave Ward Drive between McNutt Road and Madison Road. The site is roughly 0.86 acres. There are no existing structures, no overlays in the area, and the comprehensive plan designates this as the transition zone. With traffic impact, with the rezoning to O1, the traffic impact could be significant. The highest traffic impact generating uses by right in O1 are institutional uses such as schools and churches. However, the purpose of this rezone per the applicant is to develop a two-story building with approximately 5 quiet office units on the first floor and 5 apartments on the second floor. Based on the estimated size provided by the applicant, the average daily trips would be roughly 144. Currently, McNutt south of the Dave Ward Drive intersection, you see 5,100 average daily trips. There was no other traffic data in the area. We did review this. The rezoning to O1 is consistent with zoning in the area. The comprehensive plan designates this as the transition zone. This zone allows for more intense uses only when sensitivity to adjoining residential areas is considered. Given this project is mixed use in nature, it is appropriate for this area. And the rezoning is appropriate and will not likely harm any adjacent properties. Questions?
Okay. Is the applicant here this evening to speak in favor of this? Oh.
Quickly, this also, you'll hear the next case is a conditional use permit. Those two items will be tied together. So if this rezoning fails, you will not hear the conditional use permit request.
Okay, perfect. Okay, go ahead and state your name and address again, please.
Lance Massey, 1531 El Paso Road, El Paso, Arkansas. So this is kind of a blank canvas for us. We are just looking at the property, trying to see what the best way that we can utilize the property. So originally we had drawn out like 5 quiet office, similar to what we were looking for at Barrett, lawyer, CPA, something along those lines on the bottom floor. And to help justify the investment that it's going to take, we were looking at maybe putting some luxury style studio apartments on the second floor, if we can figure out how to navigate through all that. We've did a lot of extensive talking with Lauren and Rebecca and everybody in the office. So we're trying to figure out how to best use the space to maximize the use for it without too much of an impact on neighbors and stuff like that. So that is the reason for the conditional use, just kind of limit that so we can't do anything crazy. We're not going to bring in, retail or any type of restaurants or anything like that. So
Okay.
that is the reason.
Anybody have any questions about their request?
I do have a question. I was looking at the plat and the parking in the back. How is it accessed? Is it off of Dave Ward or is it around the back?
Originally, we had it drawn so that we could go around the entire building. There is a private driveway on the property that goes to a residence behind and to the right up the hill. So we're trying to navigate that. There's some obstacles with the property in itself, just in that alone. You can kind of see it on the screen there. That yellow line's kind of going right through it. So we would probably have to use that as our entry driveway and just make sure that we maintain it, make sure we don't block it, make sure our parking stays way off of it. And so that's, like I said, we're kind of trying to navigate how to best use the space as best we can.
Yeah, it seems like one curb cut into Dave Ward's much better than 2.
Yeah, we're trying not to use 2. We're just going to use 1.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Board access management plan that they would have to adhere to as well.
Did y'all hear that? There is a Dave Ward access plan.
Management plan, I believe Lauren's talked to you about it, that would have to be adhered to. I just wanted the commission to know that that's one of the things that we would look at.
Does anyone else have any questions for the applicant?
The private drive is on this property, correct? I'm assuming they have an easement.
Like
through
a
the property.
shared?
Yes, from what I've seen, like there is a fence to the property to the left, and the driveway extends 20 feet past that when we looked at it and measured it. I believe on the survey, it is all on this property.
Is that on the west side of the property?
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay. Do we, is there anyone here else to speak for the applicant? Okay. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition?
That's what I was asking about.
Hey there, if you'll just state your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Leslie Madison. I stay at 3491 Dave Ward Drive. And that is the house up on the hill, which
Okay.
is west of the property that the gentleman was just speaking about. And that property is owned by Mrs. Madison over there, who'll be 94 this year. And actually, part of that driveway, or rather that entryway from Dave Ward, is partly on her property, because her property has about this much of that driveway, and then it goes a big grassy area where they have poles and stuff, and then a fence, and then her property behind the fence as well. So just wanted to say that before I speak.
Okay.
Okay. So my name is Leslie Madison, and I'm the wife, going on 36 years, to my Winton Madison, and everybody in his family calls him Ray. So I've been coming here for over 35 years to the house on the hill. Many of you know it as the house with the wireless tower on Dave Ward Drive. That is just a block away from the Walmart shopping center. Now, the land and the homeowners we are all talking about border Dave Ward Drive. Remember that as you think about that amount of traffic turning off to Hogan onto Dave Ward Drive, coming up the hill from Walmart and the general shopping center, the churches, including the level of traffic during the commuting hours. So I'm going to give you a little history first. The Madison family has been in Conway since the turn of the century. I'm talking about the previous century. That's right, the previous century. The Madisons are primary educators, fewer doctors, tradesmen in the mix, owners of blacksmith shop and the general store. The patriarch, Will Madison, passed down a wealth of land that he accumulated to his family. Today we see Madison land on a subdivision of 260 homes on the south of the border that borders all of the land that we're talking about that was developed by Hal Crafton. The Baptist Church on the east side of one of the homes that was built on Dave Ward was on Madison land. The residential home of Ann Madison Howard, built back in the late 70s where she raised her children and where she still lives today. The vacant lot between Ann Madison home to the east and Matthew Manning's home that is our land that my husband and I share, meaning that anything that's built on that land will affect that property that doesn't have anything built on it. That means our property values, that means the aesthetics of the land, as well as what he decides to build on there. So the Manning property he actually bought from a cousin that we lost contact with. So Mrs. Madison's residential home sits on the land that I already talked to you about, and the Ackland residential home is actually a home at the top of the hill that street that we're talking about, where they're talking about everybody for this residential mixed-use space would also share that, because that's the only access to their land, and they've been living there since the 70s. So, and as you know, the sign that says, "Welcome to Conway," every time we go past that sign, my husband says, "You know that sign? That was on Madison land, and it's 30 acres of land." So I only say this because there's an emotional feeling about what happens on land. So over the years, I hear about all of the Madisons would congregate on the hill where my mother-in-law's home now resides. They wanted to build their home on Madison land that in the 70s was all forest. Remember, Conway was not built wasn't developed that far out. But my father-in-law, Winton, was a home builder, and over the years, my husband and his brother, along with their parents, pulled rocks, boulders, cut trees, and assisted in building the home that they live in today up on the hill. In addition, they built a 3-garage tractor workspace that today would have sat on Madison land in the middle of Dave Ward Drive. But when But in 2011, in order to expand Dave Ward Drive to accommodate traffic to the new Walmart, they took land from all of the Dave Ward boarding properties and tore down our building. That means all the land, Mrs. Madison's land, the Manning's land, our land, and Madison Howard's land was originally more land until the expansion of Dave Ward Drive. When it was willed to my husband, it was an acre, and now it's less than an acre because of that. I have only spent this time to give you background so that you can understand the importance of maintaining the feeling of having a home that feels and looks like a residential neighborhood, especially on that side of the street. Residential means to us a single-family home, not an apartment or an office space, but a single-family home. Now, we would consider multiple family homes on that space, but a residential family home. My husband's gonna say more.
Okay, thank you. And I
Can
just
we
want
go
to,
over the rules real fast?
yeah, just want a reminder, we have 10 minutes for someone to speak initially, and I think you're right around 6. And then we can have 2 other people speak for 3 additional minutes. So if you want to finish up with her time, you're welcome to.
We are unanimously opposed to this development, mainly due because of safety reasons and value of our property being affected. Because of where the entrance is off of Dave Ward, it is very dangerous for everybody in the neighborhood that are seniors. And you know, as seniors, reflexes are not as fast as they used to be. And coming onto Dave Ward, it is challenging, to say the very least, to avoid traffic coming over that ridge. It is very dangerous, and it needs to be looked at even before anything is considered on either piece of land, because we're just waiting for accidents to happen. Accidents have already happened. My mother has been rear-ended in an accident with other people in the car, and I think there were several other accidents that have happened there. We've had accidents, especially when it rains and especially when it snows or sleets. It's a sliding event going down Dave Ward Drive. We've had drunk drivers knock down our mailboxes several times that had to be put right back up. It is very dangerous. If you look at where the entrance is there's just no space to turn off of Dave Ward. It's very dangerous. One of the things that needs to be looked at with the traffic, it backs up often. Dave Ward Drive traffic has increased tremendously, and I think you all know that. There was an accident just today. There seems to be an accident almost every day. One of the things I want to have looked at is the interest going into our property and the property that's next to ours for any development. Also, another thing that needs to be looked at, the Acklins own a driveway that's, I guess would be called implied easement, where that asphalt road has been there for 50 years. If you have traffic coming along that road, going in and out of there, it would need to be more than twice the size that it is now and reinforced, because if you put in apartments there, the asphalt cannot take heavy vehicle traffic. So I think that's all I have at this moment. I think.
Okay, we're right at 10 minutes. Was there anybody else to speak against?
You state your name and address, please, sir.
Oh, yeah, sorry, sir.
My name is Winton Madison, 3491 Dave Ward Drive.
Okay, thank you. And if you will state your name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
3 minutes. My name is Ernestine Acklin, and I live with my husband, Larry Acklin, at 3489 Dave Ward Drive. My concern is, first of all, let me go on record as stating that we oppose anything commercial being built on the property of the man in property. Our road has already been said, our driveway comes off of Dave Ward and it goes up to our house. That is our private driveway. We have an easement from the Dorothy and Winton Madison, and also the previous owners, Ms. Lucille, signed us an easement to our property years ago. So we consider that our private driveway. That is the only way to our home. Now, if we come in and build a commercial building, whether it's office space or studios or whatever, that building will sit right on our driveway. We will have to pass that building in and out as we exit and enter our driveway. My concern is safety. Somewhere we have said that there could be an additional 140 cars going in and out of our private driveway per day. That is a big concern. Right now, when I'm leaving home, pulling out onto Dave Ward Drive, sometimes I have to wait 5 to 10 minutes before the traffic will clear for me to pull out. Coming home, making that U-turn at the stoplight, coming back up, as had already been stated, traffic gets backed up. I usually put my signal light on when I'm making that U-turn just to give warning to the traffic behind me, letting them know that I'm going to turn right at the top of this hill into my driveway. So we are concerned with safety. We're also concerned with aesthetic. What will this building, commercial building, look like in the middle of residential homes? I agree with Ray. The only thing that we could approve of or see being put there would be another home, no business, because that will only impact the traffic, our safety, and our property value. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, and we can have one more. Is there one more person to speak against this request? If you'll state your name and address, please.
Ann Madison Howard, 3411 Dave Ward Drive. I just wanted to go on record that I do oppose a commercial building being on that land. It would look really odd to have right in a residential area a business is going on. And I am concerned about the traffic. I'm concerned about the value that it will have on my property or everybody else's property. So they said everything I wanted to say, but anyway, I just want to go on record that I do oppose.
Thank
Thank
you. We appreciate your comments. Okay. We're going to bring this back into commission. Guys, if you have questions, Ryan, I was going to see if you could speak to, it seems like it was brought up a couple of times. Reminder tonight, we're only voting on the zoning. So anything with the road, anything with easements and setbacks, that would be addressed down the road. But Ryan, if you can.
Yeah, this first case is for the rezone only. After that, well, if it passes, there'll be a conditional use permit that'll follow. Anything beyond that would be worked out in site development review. Access to that private drive, that would have to be determined by the property owners. RDOT will also have a say in where curb cuts can go. Metro Plan will also have a say in that through the Dave Ward Access Management Plan. This first thing, though, is just the rezone, then the conditional use if that passes, and then it would go to site development review after that point.
Just a reminder, we're only looking at land use right
Looking
now.
at
This
just
vote's
land
only
use.
for land use.
We're looking at just the land use and a rezone from A1 to O1 at this point.
Perfect. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay. We already had our 3 speakers in opposition, but I will give you the last. She did not use all her time, so if you want to come up and use the rest, I will let you do that.
So much. First of all, I want to say good afternoon to everyone.
What's your
Good
name?
afternoon.
Good
My
eve-
name is
yeah.
Larry Ackland. I'm with Larry G. Ackland Funeral Home. I have a funeral home in this city and two other different cities as well. Been in this community a long time. I've been before this committee before. But I just want to say this evening that we're opposed to a situation like this because there's already so much danger out there where we live. We live on top of that hill beside the Madisons. They're personal friends of ours. And it's dangerous getting out of our driveway as it is. But now, one of the things that sticks out to me, I believe somebody was saying that it's going to be a lot more vehicles out there. It's going to be, we're going to have to contend with even coming out of our driveway. Somebody mentioned that there are going to be a number of trucks and cars and things that's going down my private driveway right now. You can imagine what that's going to be like. We've been going up my driveway. That my house sits up on top of that hill beside the Madisons. We both are our homes, and you can imagine what that's going to be like with traffic on my driveway. Is what I'm told now. Traffic on my driveway, my private driveway that's been there for years and years and years. And now we're talking about a lot of traffic on that driveway, on my driveway going up to my home. And I just kind of think about I'm a lot older now than what I was when we came before the council the last time. But that doesn't, that's going to be a problem in my estimation. I'm not the council, but I'm just trying to state my view. Is that okay?
Thank you. Yes, and
And
you're right
so
on your time.
We're
so-
going to ask that not be done.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
And
Just
thank you all
state your
so
address,
much.
please. Could you state your address, please?
3489 Dave Ward Drive.
Thank you.
I almost forgot that.
That's okay. That's okay. We appreciate all of you guys tonight, and thank you. And one more thing for clarification, Ryan or staff, when there is we're referring to the word private driveway or easement, can you explain what would happen with that? If there are going to be other vehicles using that, it would have to be expanded or changed in some way, or?
It could, ownership of the easement would first need to be established by the applicant when they develop the slot. If they're part owner, then they'd have to work with RDOT and Metro Plan to see if they can expand this. If they're not, they would have to try to get access from a different area on the site. And again, that's working through our Dave Ward Access Management Plan and the other entities involved with Dave Ward Drive to try to achieve that.
Okay.
I mean, is there like on Dave Ward, is there enough street frontage for another curb? Like hypothetically, if
It's got to
it's got all
be
approved?
300 linear feet. I'm not sure how much frontage they have right there. But I mean, exceptions have been made in the past. It would just depend on Metro Plan and RDOT and what the city thinks about it.
Okay, so we'll bring this back into commission. And again, remember, right now on this particular section, we're just talking about the zoning only. So anyone have any questions or?
I have no questions. I'd make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of this zoning request, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, let's count them up for us.
Okay. You're keeping track while I read everything.
Well, I think they're keeping track. They got,
Okay. Lori Quinn,
yes.
Ethan Reed, no. Mark Ferguson,
Yes.
Alexander Bainey,
Yes.
Jensen Tilke,
Yes.
Jay Winborn,
No.
Brooks Davis,
Yes.
Tanisha Roundtree,
No.
Cassidy Cook,
No.
Kevin Gambrell.
No.
Okay, so it did not pass, so we will not be moving forward. At this time, does the applicant know what they would need to do next step if we're? Just so the family knows too, and we can all be on the same page with what would happen next.
So in the event this passes, obviously we forward it along to City Council, and that has not happened. So at this point, the applicant has 30 days from the date of this meeting to appeal the denial to City Council. Should they choose to, they will submit that to our office and we will get it on the council agenda. Should they not, after 30 days, it is null and void and they cannot come back for 12 months with another rezone request.
And with an appeal, do they have to send out public notice again?
They do not.
Okay, just want to make sure everybody knows what went on. Okay.
All right. Sure they understand all that.
Okay. Okay, with that being said, we will skip item D, and I'm going to give Lauren, are you going to let him? Okay. Lauren's got the next item, and that is to rezone the property at Jason Jones, East Siebenmorgen, R1 to R2.
Hey, everyone. So the site we're looking at is 620 feet west of the roundabout at Museum Road and East Siebenmorgen Road. It is immediately west of the Ola and John Hawks Community Center. It is 3.36 acres. Currently, the property is zoned R1, and Mr. Jones is looking to rezone it to R2, which is low-density residential district. Adjacent zonings to the north and west are R1 single-family, and to the east is a mini storage, and to the south is a lot of development commercially as well, C3 along North Creek Drive. There are no existing structures on site, and it is not located in any overlay zones. The comprehensive plan does indicate the area for single family, and you'll see a lot of that west along East Siebenmorgen, but clearly to the south and to the west, we have our highest commercial density zoning. Mr. Jones is looking to rezone the property to develop a duplex development. At this time, with the math, he could do 17 duplexes, so that's 34 units, and that would generate 122 vehicle trips per weekday. Traffic counts are 10,000, approximately 700 feet west of the site. It's not located in any FEMA flood zones. Any extensions or utilities will have to be met with Conway Corporation. So as stated earlier, the intent is for a duplex development. It will be phased. Right now, it's looking to be 2 phases. So in the first phase, he's looking to do 2 lots along East Siebenmorgen with a 3rd lot that runs to the east of those. And then later on, phase 2 will then be a street installed where all of those duplexes will then front on the city street running the east side of the property. Both phases will also will obviously require planning following the subdivision regulations. It appears when it was annexed, it was as A1 that went R1, but I couldn't find a record of when that happened. It was sometime after the 60s. The R2 district encourages the same basic restrictions as the R2A zone, just with some slightly higher density. With the abutting land uses and the vacant land and just the location for the streets it's on, we do find that this zoning is appropriate for the area.
Okay, any questions for Lauren? Okay, is the applicant here to speak in favor?
Jason Jones, 2435 Peabody Drive, Conway, Arkansas. We're in favor.
Okay, and you're good with any of the conditions, the staff?
Yeah, we're not going to put that many units in there. But
Okay. Okay.
It's going to be units with 2-car garages, each one of them. It'll be pretty nice.
Okay.
For an R2.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else here to speak in favor of this request? Okay, is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Okay. With that being said, let's bring it back into commission.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We're going to move on to the next one. Lauren, you're up again. This is the rezoning of the property at 643 Reedy Road.
So this last one is kind of like we just saw. It is a concurrent rezone and conditional use request. In the event the rezone fails, we will not be hearing the conditional use request. So the site currently is 643 Reedy Road, which is about 1,000 feet north of the intersection of College and Reedy. It is just to the west of the Conway Country Club. The site is 0.73 acres, is currently zoned A1, and the conditional use request concurrently is for a child care facility. I'm sure the majority of you know that this already is a child care facility and has operated as so for many years. Adjacent zonings to the north and to the west are A1. To the south, we have some higher density R2 and some R1. There's also a lot of multifamily the further down you go. I think it's Gina Drive, and then along Emery Cove there. There's an existing 2,400 square foot childcare facility. It's not located in any overlay zones, and the comprehensive plan does indicate the area for single family. With the intent from the applicant, they are trying to do an addition. They're not adding any pupils, so that's obviously not going to increase their traffic count. But as it sits now, with the size of the building and the use, we got 35 vehicle trips per day. That probably does fluctuate because it is a childcare facility. With the event of adding on space and maybe eventually pupils for this area, they proposed 143 would be the max if it was developed at a higher density use like a clinic or something on that nature. So as we stated earlier, the site is a legally non-conforming daycare. It is, when we met with the applicant, it's currently zoned A1, and you can operate a daycare with a conditional use permit in the A1 zone. However, when we started looking at the site, it's not large enough for an A1 lot. It has to be minimum acre. It's not. If they go to plat, they're going to have to further dedicate property along Gina Drive and Reedy Road. That's further going to cause more conformance issues with them for the site. However, in the event of the rezone to O3, it helps them better conform to the zoning for what they're needing to do with the conditional use permit, and it doesn't put them in detriment when they go through site development review and platting that A1 would not be able to meet. So we would in essence be hurting them down the road to keep that A1 zoning. Childcare facility is not allowed by right in the O3 zone. That's why they're asking for the conditional use permit. The comprehensive plan does indicate the area for single family, but we see a lot of higher density uses in the area. Adjacent uses, like we stated, are multifamily. There's some apartments, and then the country club to the west. And then, as stated earlier, the purpose of the O3 zone is to provide conversions of older structures to more accommodating of residential and non-residential areas. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant here this evening? Okay, come on up. Okay, and state your name and address, please.
Okay, Keisha Jefferson, 3445 Blacksmith.
Okay, and are you good with the conditions that the commission set forward or the
Absolutely.
planning department?
Yes.
Okay,
they've
and it
been
sounds like you're
wonderful.
just cleaning up what you already have and
Absolutely.
kind of making it the zoning it needs to be.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. We may call you back up. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of the request? Okay, is there anyone here to speak in opposition to the request? Okay, let's bring it back into commission.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that sounds great. Now we'll jump on into the conditional use permit.
All right, so a lot of the same demographic information. I do want to just provide a little bit more on the history of the site. Per the assessor records, it appears the structure was built in the late 80s and changed to a school sometime in the early 2000s. It was operating as a different child care facility in the early 2010s, and the structure underwent a remodel in 2018. At that time, it was considered grandfathered because they weren't doing anything to the outside. They weren't adding square footage, everything set as it was. However, now they're looking to do the addition for some teacher workspace for their staff and screening, so that alone is going to trigger a conditional use permit. We have seen a site plan. We've seen, the O3. They understand they have to go through site development review and platting of the site for the addition. It appears everything can conform once we get it rezoned with the CUP conditions. And like I said, this conditional use permit is just further setting the legality of the site for what it's always been operating as and now allows them to do that addition that they're proposing. We chatted with the staff regarding hours of operation and days. We've included that as the condition, and we proposed 10 conditions at this time, should you guys choose to grant this request.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I guess I need to have the applicant come back on the conditional. If the applicant wants to come forward again, sorry, just state your name and address again.
Keisha Jefferson, 3445 Blacksmith.
Okay, and my question always is, are you okay with the conditions that the planning staff set forward?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Anybody else have questions?
I had a quick question. If we go ahead and rezone this, and this may be a question for staff, but if we do rezone this, are they allowed to have one sign per frontage? And does that then allow the property to have two signs?
Yes, should they choose, they could put a sign along Gina and Reedy Road.
And right now, there's one at the corner.
Correct. The one on Reedy, it does appear to be out of right-of-way, so they should be able to retain it as long as it's legally established.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's bring it back in.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, with the conditions, sorry.
You're right, your motion was with the conditions?
Yeah, with the conditions.
Okay, and then we have a second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Good work tonight. We are good and it all passed. Yes, you can go. We do have, is there announcements, additional business items tonight?
No, we don't have anything tonight. There is a lot of legislation. I think
So-
I sent you guys
Yeah.
an email about all of that. So if you know any representatives or senators or anything, reach out to them about that. And
Is there any
see how it
updates
all
on that?
shakes out. Huh?
Is there any updates since last week on that?
It's going to committee, I think, in the morning.
Okay.
What, the SB 345, the one that does away with all the zoning.
It could take away all zoning.
Yeah. I mean, essentially,
Very
this,
serious.
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
commission would
Cities could not have
not be,
zoning.
yeah, not be
So
needed
They're
anymore.
raising, the standard in the bar would be so
Yeah.
high, it would be basically very difficult to enforce it.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
So yeah, y'all be watching that and I'm sure y'all will
I'll
update
keep
us.
you updated,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, good deal. Well, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, thanks. Good night, good work.
Okay. All righty.